AmandaLand, AmandaLand, AmandaLand.
Arm yourself with truth. Arm yourself with curiosity. Arm yourself with love. Arm yourself with community. Arm yourself with courage. Arm yourself with passion. Arm yourself with radical creativity. Save yourself. A new drop from AmandaLand Exports.
What's your relationship like with your father?
Soup is good, but bisque is great.
I appreciate that way of thinking.
Are these even people? Go yourself. Oh my God, Amanda! Topher Shanks. Damn, Topher!
Slow clap.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Views from AmandaLand, your news and truths by any joke necessary. We are here on a Tuesday. Thank you for waking up on the right side of history. I'm telling you now, we have a long show ahead of us. We've got a lot to cover, and I just felt like I couldn't leave stuff out. So I just was like, this is just what it's going to have to be. So we will be here till at least noon today. It might be a little longer, but I just felt like there was no way for me to make this more succinct. And I know that you're getting a lot of information all at once. And so I just wanted to really take some time to talk through these things that are happening and be considerate of just how to address them. And I know that there's a lot of people who really get their y'all get your news from me. So I said, let me just get this going. So here we are, and it is Tuesday. And before we even get into things, I want to give you a heads up of some activations that you can be a part of. I don't know if Meg Collier is here yet, but I had said that I want to start a community calendar where we basically post activations that people can be involved with, and I'm ready to start that. Hold on, why aren't I able to see this? So if you are in New York City, you can be a part of this live event in New York City that the People's Forum is putting on March 22nd. That's Saturday, March 22nd at 8 p.m. This is for free. It's a rally and event in support of freeing Mahmoud Khalil. It's going to feature his legal team as well as organizers from the Palestinian Youth Movement and the People's Forum, union leaders. Alana Hadid, Macklemore will be there. I told them yesterday that I wasn't going to go because I really need to focus on the book, but I think I'm going to make an exception because I will just make sure that I work really hard during the day and come through. Also, for all my folks for the national parks, March 22nd, Rally and Learn. They are having a nationwide rallies for and support of the national parks. March 22nd, Saturday. That's a Saturday at noon at a national park near you. You can go there and check that out. So I'm looking to start a page on my Thank you, Rolando, for putting the link in the chat. I'm looking to start a page on the Views from AmandaLand page where you all will be able to see events that are happening around you that you can and be in partnership with, be in coalition with, be in support of. And hopefully, you go to these activations and you gain community, but you also gain connection to organizations that you can continue to be in support of. And that is not just helping the organization, that's also helping you, right? Because so much of the work that we are about to step into is going to be about how to maintain. It's going to be about how to maintain your mental space, how to maintain your livelihood, how to maintain your health, your physical health, all the above. And that's going to require, we keep saying like, it's community. However, it's very real. It's very real in what it looks like and what community looks like. And one of the biggest things that we don't talk about is, you're going to have to really take a look at your morals. You're going to really have to take a look at your morals. We had, a really dope conversation the other day with Blakely Thornton, who came on and was talking about if capitalism is your main bottom line, then that's really a problem because you'll always be in fear. And it's very true. The reality, though, is that they set that up for you, right? They set us up to be afraid of what will we do if we don't have the money to pay our bills, if we lose our job for standing up for people, et cetera, et cetera. And that's real. I think there's also something very real about asking yourself, what are your morals? Where does lying exist for you? Where does being a criminal exist for you? Because we're going to talk today about the new era criminalization. And crime is determined by whoever's in charge. Crime is a social construct, right? Because there are moral crimes, right? Killing somebody. However, what if they molested your child? So there's a lot of gray area in those spaces. But when it comes to crime as it relates to whether or not you are going to be, suffering punity, whether it is in jail or whether it is lethal or whether it is monetary, there is going to be some level of shift in that, depending on who is in the government. And we are now in a new space of criminality that is being determined by this government. And so we need to talk about it. We need to talk about what they're considering criminal. We need to talk about how that gets challenged, if at all. And we need to talk about the ways in which we are managing this information. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about how the military is coming after Black people. Okay. That is happening in a very real way. And so we're going to get into that conversation, which is one that I'm genuinely shocked by. And I know it's very hard to be shocked at this point. But yeah, there's an effort, albeit not as direct as one may think, but there is an effort that is being launched that targets Black men in the military, as well as that is targeting the military in other ways, dealing with the dead. So we're going to get into just all of this. Some just quick updates. The USPS will be firing 10,000 employees in an agreement with Doge. And I am flabbergasted at the efforts that are taking place. I also, though, want to shout out that there are a number of protests that are going on all over the nation that we're going to talk about later that have not been talked about in the mainstream news. So we're going to get into all of this. And I got to hit Elaine Brown. So we're going to get into all of this. So all of this is going on. And that's going to be dope. We're also going to be joined by Desmond Thorne, who will be joining us to talk about what I got going on at Nighthawk Theater this week. SFB at the Movies is going down on Thursday, and we will be breaking down They Clone Tyrone and how comedy is being used as commentary. If you don't know why this is valid, it is because what we're going to see in this dictatorship that we are stepping into, that we are falling into, that we are plummeting into, is a stronghold on anything that is used to give messaging of elevation. And a lot of people may not know just how deep that goes in the United States and how deep it has gone. But one of the things that the United States is very, very, very involved in is the television and entertainment industry. And in determining what films come out, how they are representing elements of the United States that ultimately are about suppressing the people. We talked about this yesterday, the propaganda as it relates to like the police all the way up to the Secret Service, to the FBI, etc. We also talked about just how we've seen DEI now just eradicated. You think that's not taking place in the entertainment industry? Like, get out of here. I mean, I really saw a black man sit on Surrounded with Sam Cedars episode and talk about how he felt like DEI had gotten out of hand in Hollywood when they were saying they weren't casting white men for certain roles. And I just was like, brother, where do you feel like this matters to you? Why does this matter to you? Nonetheless, this series that I'm doing, where we're doing screenings and talkbacks, is to get our minds working around how different spaces, particularly within artistic spaces, are used for commentary purposes, and also to engage our minds in how we in our own spaces use where we are for commentary purposes. And some people might say, well, what's the use of commentary? To keep us awake, keep you alive, to keep you alive. Sometimes I get messages from people saying, thank you for talking about this particular thing because I felt crazy. And they'll say, I felt crazy. I felt like I was the only one that saw this or that knew about this. I felt like I was the only one that cared about this. And thank you for pointing this out. So I will continue to do that because of even that same, even just to make it feel like it's worth having a voice. It's interesting when I look at the trends page on my YouTube app, I see Charlie Kirk effortlessly defends Israel's right to exist. And then I see that it's a video by Charlie Kirk. I'm like, yeah, okay. So, anywho, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We have a lot to get into. We're also going to be doing our word of the day in a different format moving forward. We're going to be doing a word of the day. I found something in the archives that I was like, ooh, this can be put to good use. So we're going to get into that. Shout out to everybody who's late to class. Make sure you check in when you get here. We are here at Views from AmandaLand, your news and truths by any joke necessary. We are very appreciative that you're waking up on the right side of history. We've got a long day ahead of us. We've got a long show ahead of us. I've got a lot to get into. So before we kick off things, hey, it's the roll call time. I want to hear where everybody is at. AmandaLanders here to learn. Tell me where you're watching from. All right. Me, I told you to smash the like. AmandaLanders here to learn. Drop in and tell me where you're watching from. Look at everybody telling y'all to get these likes up. Get these likes up. Come on, we got Austin, Texas in here. San Diego. We got Lake Worth, Florida. Utah. Newark, New Jersey. We got Fort Worth, Texas. Leominster, Massachusetts. We got a new, Saudi Arabia's in the building with us. Yay! We love to see it. St. Petersburg, Florida. Washington Heights. Shout out to Dykeman. Colorado, Nebraska. Houston, Texas. Durham, North Carolina. Syracuse, New York. H-Town. Do the South Side. I do the South Side. Hey, AmandaLanders here to learn. Drop in, tell me where you're watching from. Kingston, New York. Compton coming through. West Side. Did we see Kenya? Habari Ghani? Toronto. I don't think we have Kenya on the map yet. La Plata, Maryland. Arlington, Texas. Why am I talking like these? Bay Area, Jersey Shore. Mile High City, baby. Shout out to Denver and Pantara. We got lots of love today. Lots of us in the Bay. Guelph, Ontario. We got Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Nyack, New York. We got Bristol, Connecticut. And Los Angeles, California. Teaneck, New Jersey. And Linda is staying up with us in Melbourne to watch for the live. Hey, AmandaLanders here to learn. Drop in and tell me where you're watching from. St. Louis, as always, shout out to Hamid. We got Flatbush, Brooklyn in the building. Queens, Harlem, dang, all New York. We just need to get Staten Island, and we actually be having Staten Island in the building sometimes. We got Paris, France, bonjour, St. Martin, Reading, Pennsylvania. We got, let's see, Jersey, Duval. We got Southwest Atlanta in the building. AmandaLanders here to learn. Thank you for telling me where you're watching from. Yeah. We also got Orlando in the building. I just talked to my 6th grade teacher this morning on the Zooms. Yes, I talked to my 6th grade teacher, Miss Wiley, on Zoom this morning. She lives in Kuwait now. How awesome is that? I knew we didn't have a Kenya. Okay, we got to add Kenya to our map, y'all. She lives in Kuwait now. She's also a doctorate in education. And she was one of the teachers that I have as my in my dedication to my next book. And her ex-husband actually was on YouTube Live the other night and was like, you know, Amanda, I used to drop you off at school. I used to pick you up from school. And I was like, who? And then I remembered that her ex-husband used to take me and her son home. All right, Kenya, you on the map. Look at us. We are in the motherland. Are we? Okay, so now we have East Africa, we have West Africa, we have Southern Africa. We need somebody in Northern Africa, y'all. What do you think it's going to be? Egypt, Algeria, Morocco? We need somebody in the Sahel. Yeah, man, we looking good. We also got Melbourne in Australia. We got to get our South America reps up. We got to get our South America representation up. All right, we got Peru. But that's it. That's it. So we got to get our South American representation up. So anybody who knows anybody living in South America, you got to tell them, y'all got to watch Views from AmandaLand. Watch Views from AmandaLand. Drop in and tell them where you coming from. All right. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure you drop in on the YouTubes and put a comment. Tell me where you're listening from. Hold on, people watcher. Are you in Morocco or are you Moroccan? It's different. Okay. Dang, we got David is in Chile by way of Sweden. Wait a minute. Are you in Chile right now? We have a Guyana there. Oh my God, wait, are you in Guyana or are you from Guyana? You see, that's the thing. We did have an AmandaLander from Brazil. Yes, we did. We had Paulo. We got to get that pin clarification every time. That is correct. We have someone watching in China? Are you serious? You're watching in China? Oh my gosh. Do we have somebody? Wait, we have Bolivia? We have China? We have, oh my God. Okay, wait. This is very serious. I'm just going to bring up Desmond so he can represent with us. Desmond, do you see what's going on? Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wait, that's incredible.
Okay.
Worldwide.
Evs, all right, Evs is in China right now. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where Hainan, China is. You know, these contacts be like, not for seeing things up close. All right.
Period.
Hainan. All right, I'm gonna just put it on the China. Okay. Someone say you can play YouTube in China. Looks like it. Someone's watching from the Czech Republic. Shut up. Shut up. Are you serious? Eb Story said it's the Hawaii of the Orient. Ooh la la. Oh, I found it. There it is. Our WAP is our map is expanding. Okay, our WAP is expanding.
Our WAP is expanding.
I wish. All right, Czech Republic. All right, hold on. Let me get the Czech Republic up in here. Let me get the Czech Republic up in here. There it is. Voila. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes, look at our map, y'all. AmandaLand is here to learn. I'm so impressed by us. All right. So I don't know if we ever figured out if Bolivia was actually watching from Bolivia or if they were Bolivian. But yes, shout out to all of my people. Oh, we had a Guyana in here. Are you watching from Guyana or are you Guyanese? Are you watching from Guyana or are you Guyanese? That's the interesting, that's the thing. Okay. Now, Antia, we got you. We got Spain right here. Antia, we got you. We see you. You got Spain right here. Okay. So Zambia, are you in Zambia or are you Zambian?
Word.
All right. This is what we always need to know. Is you Zambia or is you Zambian? Okay, Javon, you keep putting the Guyanese flag. That don't give us any clarification. That doesn't let us know. Shout out to Reese, always joining us across the pond in London. Wait, no, you're not in London. You're in Manchester, right? I feel like why am I talking like that? You're in Manchester. Right? You're watching in Zambia?
Wow.
Oh my gosh, AmandaLanders. Yeah. Bam. This is giving. You know what this is giving?
What?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Ooh, when I've been around the world. That's what it's giving.
The ad-libs in that song? Always.
All right. So this person said that they are in Brooklyn. They are Guyanese, but they're in Brooklyn. Okay. Yes. Good to know. Well, y'all, we are yes, Kimberly, you know, I'd be giving you sudden neurodivergent accents. I did an interview with journalist Mona Shalabi, and she was like, she's British, and she was like, please do not do a British accent at me. And I was like, I can't make any promises. I'm gonna
and I'm from the theater? Come on, I'm sorry.
Come on. And I did a good job though. I kept it together. Word. You can listen to, we did an incredible interview. The first part of the interview actually is up and the second part will post tomorrow. Mona Shalabi is Iraqi, but raised in England. And her unique form of journalism is that she uses like doodles to present statistics and to really help people understand numbers and statistics and polls, etc. And it really is necessary at a time when people can't read.
Absolutely, or people don't want to, Yes. Oof.
That part.
Absolutely.
So Antia says she likes my Hispanic accent. Ibiza. So this is Desmond Thorne. Desmond is a film and television connoisseur who is the reason why we will be doing Smart, Funny, and Black at the movies tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm very excited about this event and very excited about really just talking about film's power.
100%.
You know, so I would love to hear, knowing you probably prepared something, didn't you?
No.
Okay. Because knowing Desmond, he's like, well, so what I've prepared is. So I wanted you to talk to us just about film and its power and its legacy as a tool, right, for commentary and for shifting perspective. Because I think a lot of people, we are getting very desensitized with all the Marvel movies and the
100%.
DC movies and thinking that that's really all movies are for.
100%. I mean, for me, movies have been such a way into other people's experience that I don't have personal experience with. Like, especially when we're talking about, as Amanda was referencing, older films, international films, you know, documentaries. Like, these are such enriching pieces. And I think it is such a 3D experience because, you know, it is more than reading. It is more than just seeing. A really good film will also hit you in an emotional place, you know, by using the technique of film, you know. I think that that's such a big part of my job that I've come to realize. I think in times like this, it's really important when crafting a film program like we do. You know, we'll put together a film for like a series that goes over the course of a month. So when thinking about what to do, especially for this year, I'm like, well, what do I want to say? You know, what do I want to stand for? So for example, next month, I'm doing an entire series of films that are about class. And specifically, these are films that are highlighting the kind of lampoonery of the 1%.
Ooh.
And things like that. So it's a lot of like, social satire and things like that.
What are some of the films in there? Parasite's in there, right?
Parasite is definitely in there
Okay.
because Parasite is such a great way to put it. You know what I mean? It is so entertaining, and then you step away and you're just like, well, let's unpack that. Like, let's really talk about this. And it's interesting that many of those films in that series are international films because I do feel like a lot of international films are kind of more willing to dig into the
It's so
rich
true.
people in their systems, you know?
Because I'm trying to think of like movies here that do that.
There aren't, I mean, there really aren't that, there are not that many. It's kind of crazy. I was thinking that many American films that are about class are, you know, in a good way about lower class systems kind of rising up, which is nice. It's inspirational, you know, a lot of films about unions and stuff like that. But someone pointed out to me, they're like, well, a lot of people who are like in Hollywood really kind of want to be in that space. So they don't really want to like dig at them too much. You know what I mean?
Fair. And they're already in that space. So they don't even
100%.
have the blind, it's like blind spots.
They can't see it, you know? I mean, in this series, the only American films, I think there's 3. 2 of them don't take place here, being Marie Antoinette and Gosford Park. They don't take place here.
Right.
And then the other one is this film from the 80s called Society, which is literally like a horror satire about the rich literally feeding off the poor. It is, you know, a body horror film. And we tried to put a film in.
Wait, what is a body horror genre? What is that?
So body horror is like movies like The Fly and things where like it's gonna be horror, but it's gonna be so gross. It's gonna be so disgusting, like very cringe. Very
So
cringe.
I'm making the right face.
Yes, literally making the right face. And we had this film that we wanted to put in called They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Which is about the Depression era, where they would have these dance contests, these dance marathons, and you would get money. So essentially what you have is a bunch of people who don't have money, lower class, doing these dance marathons for the people who are watching who have money. And it's so good, it is so terrifying in its own way because a marathon, as in, there are shifts, but these people are dancing for 24 hours and you get cut if you stop dancing.
It's
So,
very Squid Game in a way.
yes, very much so. Very much so. And like rooted in the history of class in America.
Yeah.
Fantastic film. Jane
Someone
Fonda.
Oh, Jane Fonda.
Mhm.
Someone
Mhm.
suggested Trading Places.
Trading Places is great. That's one that I would have to rewatch because, comedy from a certain time period, you just got to be like, okay,
No, it passes
take
the
a
test.
look. Okay.
It passes
yeah.
the test.
Good to know.
Trading Places is actually a really good example of a film that uses comedy as commentary. And now that you say that, I'm like, maybe I need to put that in this series.
100%.
Yeah, because what he's doing is really showing how the rich eat themselves, and he's using
100%.
and he's turning them against each other.
100%.
And then it also shows how, because of their looking at him as a token, he's able to infiltrate. Yeah, there's some
100%.
real.
That would be a good one for a discussion after,
Absolutely.
because like really breaking that down and also talking about the fact that oftentimes when we do have American films that work about class, they are also about race because that's
Yes, interconnected. It's
Yes.
deeply threaded and entwined.
100%.
Where do you feel like there's the best space right now for films that are going to give commentary? Like, do you feel like the independent space is growing in that way? Like, do you feel like there really is now, again, a push in that direction?
In a certain way, I see a lot of attempts at it, especially post films like Get Out and Parasite. New films that try to attempt at what those films were talking about, but they kind of sort of miss the point.
It feels like it's like appropriation of sorts.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
It doesn't feel like a genre. It feels like a copy.
Yes, exactly. It feels like a Xerox without the goods. It's like you're missing some pages.
It's a black and white copy of a color of a cover, of a color photo.
100%. But I feel like the spaces where you can really seek out films where you'll really like get that enrichment are theaters like ours that do both or just show repertory films.
So talk about Nighthawk and what makes that theater unique and what you guys are trying to do with that space and film.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the unique thing about our theater is that we do first run films. So those are new films that are new releases. And we also do repertory films, which is my job. And I would say what makes our space so special is the diversity of our voices with our 3 programmers on our team. We all really do something different. We all just period love good movies, but we're all trying to hit different audiences and really bring people together who really wouldn't expect to be in the same room together. Like, for example, I help curate a bi-monthly screening series that have drag shows before them. So that's a really cool curation to work with this performer named Miss Malice, who loves movies and can also turn out a show.
Right.
So to have a space where there are people who love drag, and then we're also showing a movie like The Slumber Party Massacre that's for the horror heads.
Yeah.
Bringing those 2 groups together is just absolutely fantastic and such a beautiful thing. And oftentimes she'll have trans performers with her. So to expose trans performers to a new audience of film lovers is also fantastic. Just bringing that together. And then for a series like mine, like Adventures in Black Cinema,
Right.
when you're showing a movie like White Chicks, which was probably one of my bigger white audiences, in an intro, spoken by me, talking about the commentary that they're serving on white people, to have white people kind of sit there and be like, well, you're going to learn something. I think that's something that we like to do too, is really enrich people beyond the film with, intros and Q&As and stuff, and like what you're going to do, your discussion after the film, like really adding that nice cherry on top, because the best films really do warrant a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best films are more than the director is clearly doing more than just entertaining you. I mean, that's just the
100%.
reality.
100%.
So Michael Jones, who's been a big fan since I was Amanda Diva, he had suggested the film Panther, and I have to tell you, I need to rewatch Panther.
Ooh, I haven't seen Panther.
95. I mean, Angela Bassett, Mario Van Peebles,
Ooh.
Kadeem Hardison, Melvin Van Peebles.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Chris
add that to the
Tucker,
list.
Preston L. Jones. Like, I forgot about that film. I need to watch it again. And it has a 95%
Ooh.
on the people who watched it. Now, Rotten Tomatoes has a 25%, which lets me know that it's probably going to be good.
Exactly.
Because Rotten Tomatoes is rotten.
100%. I mean, that's another one of my monthly series that I do. It's called Reconsider This, where we take another look at box office bombs, critical misfires, underrated films, and the audience at the end gets to vote on whether they thought the film was a misunderstood masterpiece or a perfectly understood mess. And that's a great way to get people involved and engaged and kind of look back and be like, oh, they said this about this movie, but I love this movie. It's kind of like reclaiming those movies that were truly misunderstood, because critics most of the time,
they're not watching it with the same reason.
Exactly.
Now, the soundtrack for Panther was also a banger. It has Joe, Usher and Monica did a duet, Blackstreet, Bobby Brown, Shanice did a cover of If I Were Your Woman. We got George Clinton, the Parliament Funkadelic, Aaron Hall, who is a terrible person, but, he's a singer. Sounds of Blackness. Yeah, This was a time. Well, the 90s was a time when soundtracks
100%
were just as much a part of the movie as the movie. Like, that 100%. Was very important. What's a film that actually got reconsidered?
So many of them. I'm doing Uptown Girls tonight.
But, like, what's one that the audience was like, you know what? They got it wrong. Do you remember any?
Baps was a huge one. Baps got a 100% audience vote of misunderstood masterpiece. That was a huge
I need to rewatch Baps.
Yeah, I mean, really thinking about what makes a comedy film work. Great performances, great jokes. It's a tight 90 minutes. And I have to say, in that vein, rewatching that movie, I was like, there was no time wasted in this film.
That's my favorite thing. I hate a time waste on screen.
100%.
Listen, Desmond is always like, yeah, this is a good movie. I mean, it's 20 minutes too long, but it's a good movie.
Yes, that is typically the thing. Just cut.
Even I Am Still Here felt 20 minutes too long.
Absolutely. Because there is kind of like this build, and then it starts going down,
Well, they felt the need to continue the story of the mother.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a director's cut. I feel like it could have literally ended at them going to Sao Paulo.
Yeah, honestly. And I thought it kind of was. I thought it was kind of ending, but then, yeah, you're right. It did keep going a little too far, to the point where that ending could have just been text,
Yeah, like, I don't know that was... I mean, who are we? I mean, it's a true story, right. So it's
true.
We wanted to show... Okay.
True. Like, y'all do it,
Okay. I will say, though, one of the things that you said before we go that really, to me, is the most effective thing about film is the relatability part, and the really tapping into your empathy and making you aware of just existences that you never considered. And as a United Statesian, because we don't want to call ourselves American anymore. So as a United Statesian, finding out that this country has been impacting people's lives all over the globe in ways that you were never aware of. Like, the latest for me has been, and this isn't film, but I mean, they shoot their TV shows like film, has been getting into K-dramas. Like, Korean dramas, every episode is a film.
So good. Literally, so good.
The latest one I'm into is When Life Gives You Tangerines. So much so that there was a Korean woman on the train with me yesterday, and she was watching it on her phone, and I was like,
hey,
And she's like, you watch. And I was like, yes.
Yes.
Like-
Oh, so good.
And
So good.
but I had no idea about
Totally.
the Korean Japanese, scenario. I had
Pachinko.
no. I mean, don't get me started on pachinko. You know how I feel about pachinko.
Yes.
Y'all, it was Desmond who put me on a pachinko because I had a friend who was like, it's slow, and I learned. I realized long after she had told me that she has bad taste in TV and film. But I forgot that was her who had told me that. And then Desmond was very casually like at my house and was like, you've never watched pachinko?
Yes.
Get into it.
Yes.
I lost 2 weeks of my life and I don't need them
100%.
back. I don't need them back. Pachinko is one of the greatest shows ever made.
Period.
I stand on it.
It's so good.
But just learning about these different existences, like I had an Uber driver the other day who put me on to 2 Indian films that I need to watch, and
They be doing cinema.
And it's so funny how people really be like knowing your vibe, because when I looked at the films, they are about fighting back against colonization.
Yes, typically, yes.
It's not just like we're dancing in Bollywood. No.
In very big, bold ways.
Yes.
Like if you want to see a blockbuster, that's a blockbuster.
Yes.
Like
yes. And I know the book Pachinko is good, but it's like someone here said, Miss Seals, the book is incredible too. Of course it's incredible.
Of course, yeah.
But I don't want to start it.
Totally.
Because I don't want to know.
Because now you're watching it really unfold. And I'm not sure. I think the book just goes in order, whereas the show does a really cool thing of kind of like jumping around time that I really, really appreciate, because it really puts you into like, okay, here's how this moment affected this moment directly.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. But I did hear the book is incredible.
When Life Gives You Tangerines mimics that similarly. And at first I was like, oh, they biting. And then I was like, it's fine.
Like, it's good. They're doing a good job. Yeah.
To answer your question, Fatima, yes, Lagan is one of the movies that he suggested. Lagan is one of the movies, and the other one was Shah Zahibzadeh. And that's because he was Sikh. And this is about like the Sikh. It's one of the Sikh stories. So
incredible.
Someone asked if we've watched Mad Men. I have watched Mad Men.
Yes.
Mad Men is one of those shows where, again, it's like, we're going to tap this.
Yeah.
But we're not going to really do it. We're still going to try and humanize this very terrible person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this very terrible system.
100%. Yeah, that is kind of the thing about that show. Like, it's definitely very richly written. And at the same time, I am kind of just like, okay, like, sure.
I don't know if you've been watching White Lotus, but
yes.
I find this season to be absolutely terrible.
Really?
Yeah, this is the whitest white that the White Lotus has ever been, and they're in an entirely non-white country. They're literally in Thailand, and I'm not interested in any of the characters. I don't care about any of them. I literally turned it off last night. I was like, I'm good. I don't care about this.
Did you make it to the monologue?
Yeah, I did. And I was like, what are we doing here? Yeah, because I was like, here we go. It just felt so sensational. Like, this white man is talking about some real wild, like, it just goes over. It felt like jumping the shark.
Word. I can see that.
Like, it came out of nowhere, and I don't know what it was for.
Yeah, it can be harder this season than other seasons to kind of see, like, what they're pointing at.
What are they pointing at? Help me.
Yeah.
Help me.
Well, it's supposed to be, this whole season's theme is supposed to be kind of about death and enlightenment, which I can kind of see peek through every once in a while with like certain characters, certain people, like the daughter, the good one. I can see that kind of pointing through for her. And I know that death is coming, and you can kind of see death and the impact with the Walton Goggins character.
Yes.
A bit. But I will say, like,
whom I love. I love Walton Goggins.
I love him so much.
And I really love his face.
Yes.
I don't know what it is
Yes.
about his face. I really love his face.
There really is something about it. And I feel like the themes of the other 2 seasons, the first season being really pointed about money and class.
Okay.
Second season really being pointed about like sex and how we view that, especially from an American standpoint, being
Okay.
in another country. I feel like those were much clearer and more pointed.
Yes.
I mean, I'm interested to see how this evolves. And Parker Posey,
I mean,
acting down.
my
like-
lorazepam. Now that you've given me a context, I can watch it a bit differently because I didn't have
Yeah.
that context. I just felt like I was watching white people white.
No, totally. And I do I'm very interested to see what goes down with the guy who was married to Jennifer Coolidge, the older guy.
Yeah, and Natasha. I mean,
Mhm.
I forgot her character's name on the show. I know her as
Belinda.
an actual human person.
Yeah.
So-
Yes. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. And I'm always interested to see where they're gonna go next season. I mean, that's always what I'm kind of waiting for, where they're
Well,
gonna
for the record, Parker Posey is a SUNY Purchase graduate, so I just want to point that out. I just want to point that out.
Queen.
A fellow Purchase grad. Well, now that you've given me context, this is why we talk to Desmond, y'all. This is why, because Desmond is going to get you to where you need to get when it comes to TV and film. He's going to bring
Yes.
you right there and help you get there. So thank you for once again putting me on course.
Yes.
Anything you're watching right now that we should know about?
Ooh, this animated show on HBO Max called Common Side Effects. So these
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Same creators as Scavenger's Reign, which we talked about on the radio show back in the day. This is a show essentially about this guy who discovers this mushroom that can cure anything, and his homegirl from back in the day happens to work for a pharmaceutical company, and they just happen to meet up one day. So that's where the story kind of goes. People
Okay.
after him because he has this
Thing.
that could cure anything, and that could put a lot of people out of their fucking money.
All right. So then I'm
There
going to
you
have to
go.
watch that. I just discovered Gina, which is a Chinese film that the part 2 is the highest grossing.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yeah. It's the highest grossing film in the States and it's Chinese. And I watched part 1. It's kind of amazing.
Okay, that's on my list. That is on my
It's
list.
amazing.
Hell yeah.
And then they suggested another film after it, another Chinese animation film. I didn't even know about Chinese
Me
animation.
neither, honestly. It's kind of a blind spot for me.
Yeah, like I knew
Yeah.
about Japanese animation, but I
For
didn't know
sure.
about Chinese animation. Well, let me tell you
Yeah.
something. Chinamation is doing something.
Yes, Chanimation.
Yes. So you can watch Xena on I'm sure you can just rent it, but it's also available if you have Peacock. It's available for free.
Nice.
So I'm going to watch Common Side Effects. And once again, Desmond, thank you so much. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring Smart, Funny, and Black to the movies, where we will be discussing and watching They Clone Tyrone this Thursday at Prospect Park, Nighthawk Theater at Prospect Park. You can see the Addy scrolling across the bottom. Get your tickets. Remember, when you guys buy tickets to stuff that I'm doing, you are supporting like the whole world of Smart, Funny, and Black productions. Okay. So that includes Small Doses Podcast, which is now independent. That includes the creations that come out of AmandaLand Exports. That includes when I am going to do free shows because that supports me as a creative, right? And I really feel like we are necessarily we have to find spaces for community, and I want there to be intellectual spaces. And so thank you, Nighthawk Prospect Park, for allowing us to have that at your venue. So shout out to Desmond Thorne, y'all.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Always. And I will see you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday.
Y'all, I also want to let you know I have found a home for Amanda Landers meetups here in New York City. Yes, I have. I know you're fine. I know you're happy. Yes, I have found a home for Amanda Landers meetups in New York City. I have. Yes. And I also talked to them about, where the possibility is for like meetups at sister spaces in other cities. And they said, yeah, like we definitely have, points of light in other cities. So we're going to start here in New York City, but we'll expand. And we're going to have an Amanda Landers meetup. So I'm going to figure out when that can happen and put that together. And that's going to be something I think could be really special and really dope. So I'm going to look into making that a thing. All right. An Amanda Landers thing, so there's a part of me that was like, oh, what if it's just, we just meet up? But then I'm like, no, it needs to have programming. I want to figure out how we can have an Amanda Landers meetup that is an event. Okay. That is a day or a weekend that has events, so that y'all can have somewhere to go, somewhere to fly into, something to fly into for that is going to like uplift you. So, it's probably going to be in the summer, and because I have to finish my book and I just got the final deadlines for my book. So, Cassie Carnahan said, can you schedule for next year? I need time to save. Well, Cassie, you know how we do. So there'll be a mutual aid option. So, there's people here that have more than others. And I will also create a scholarship. So I will fund a scholarship and I will reach out to my network for how we can fund more than one scholarship to bring people to the Amanda Landers, retreat. So that's how we do. That's how it goes down. So working on that. And I'm going to put that together. I stay giving myself jobs. It's always like, you could do this thing that would be really easy, or you could make it really difficult. So there we go. I don't know why we're dropping in viewers, but we're about to get into our word of the day. All right, so let's get into it. Our word of the day. We're going to be doing our word of the day differently. I found this, y'all, which I have found before, but I found it again. And this is my, Rolando, can you pause Gregory Calloway because he's out of pocket. So this is my, actually, wait, it's 11 a.m. We're in the 11 a.m. hour. Welcome to Views from AmandaLand. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. Thank you for waking up on the right side of history. This is your home for news and views by any truth necessary. Okay, this right here is my vocabulary flashcards from high school. Okay? This is my vocabulary cards from high school. And I found it. This is from Miss Poro's class. And no, I don't have a 501c3, but I don't need to have a 501c3, and I don't want a 501c3. And this was from my junior and senior year in Miss Poro's English class at Dr. Phillips High School. So our words of the day are now going to come from here, and they're going to come live and in full effect. So let's find out what today's word of the day is. Today's word of the day is demur. All right. The word is demur. Demur. Okay. Demur. And the definition is to object or take exception to. Demur is a verb spelled D-E-M-U-R. And it is to object or take exception to. So I demur all of the changes and efforts that Doge and the Trump administration are doing. I demur them. All right. Demur. And I want y'all to use it in a sentence. We know that it is a verb because the definition starts with to. So whenever it starts with to, that means it's an action to such and such. So, and it's not to be confused with demure. I see some of y'all putting an E on the end of it. And we know that that's a different word, demure, right? Demure means reserved, modest, shy, typically used for a woman, whereas demur raising doubts, objections, showing reluctance, okay? To object or take exception to. The word is demur. Demur. To object or take exception to. All right. Nasra says, I demur the continuous oppression of the poor. Yes, ma'am. I agree. Fatima always gives us a long sentence, and I appreciate it every time. When asked if having empathy was still valuable in 2025, I would not demur. It remains more essential than ever to understand others. Mooney says, I demur the green light given by Netanyahu to continue the genocide in Palestine, which we will be talking about. Erin says, I demur all those in the shadows, allowing Donald and Elon to succeed in their oppression. Jonathan says, we should demur the notion that the courts will uphold any democracy we hope to have. Thank you very much. Ev Story says, now that I've discovered I'm on the autism spectrum, I demur any sort of shady business towards me. Yeah. Demurred all of that. The word is demur in my handwriting from 11th or 12th grade, because this was for both years, to take objection to or exception. So shout out to me keeping everything and still having my word bank from Dr. Phillips High School in 2000. No, not in 2000. What am I saying? In 1997 and 98. And 98 and 99. There we go. So shout out to me. All right, here we are. We are back at Views from AmandaLand, and it's time to get into some Blackurate news. Let's do it.
Blackurate news. Politics. Blackurate news. Pop culture. Blackurate news. Sports. Blackurate news. Justice.
All right. We got a lot to talk about. So like I said, this is going to be a pretty long episode because we have a lot to talk about. So let's get into this. Do you all know who Muriel Bowser is? Muriel Bowser is the mayor of DC, and she is an interesting individual. She is a Black woman. However, I feel that she very constantly is not in support of Black people. And she recently caved and allowed for the destruction of the Black Lives Matter streets or courtyard in DC. And then she also had a press conference recently where she behaved in a fashion that was so deplorable to me that I was just dismayed. This is the mother of Karan Hilton, who I will explain who that is, confronting Mayor Bowser after allowing. Actually, let me tell you all who this woman is first. Let me actually get into that. So, 2 DC officers convicted for the October 2020 death of Karan Hilton Brown have now been reinstated, according to the Metropolitan Police Department. They were pardoned by Donald Trump and now are returning to the force. And Hilton Brown had been riding a motorbike without a helmet, as Officer Sutton pursued him in an unmarked car. The chase went on for 10 blocks before Sutton followed Hilton Brown down an alley at what prosecutors called an unreasonable speed. When Hilton Brown left the alley, he was hit by a car. Hilton Brown suffered severe head trauma. He died in the hospital 2 days later. He was 20 years old and the father of an infant. Of course, there were protests, and the U.S. attorney for D.C. actually said, you know what, we're going to use this to really show how cops need to be more thoughtful in how they are actually carrying out their duties. They said that Sutton and Zabowski failed to preserve the crash scene for investigators. They turned off their body cameras. So we all know what that means. And as he lay on the streets in a pool of his own blood, these cops covered up what Sutton had done to prevent any further investigation of the death of Karan. At the police station, they denied that a chase even occurred. Okay? They implied that Hilton Brown was drunk, downplayed his injuries. All of this happened. And so the judge said that with the sentences, he wanted to send a message about the officer's behavior and cover up that followed. Now, the U.S. attorney said this: the jury in this case found the defendants guilty beyond a reasonable doubt for their roles in the murder of Karan Hilton Brown and a related cover-up, affirming that what happened here was a serious crime. Public safety requires public trust. Crimes like this erode that trust and are a disservice to the community and the thousands of officers who work incredibly hard within the bounds of the Constitution to keep us safe. This is the first story in our section called New Era Criminalization. New Era Criminalization. Okay? And the reason why we need to talk about criminalization is because ultimately we are missing the reality that criminalization is created, right? It's created by those who are in power. And when we ignore this fact, we then fall victim to just saying, well, we shouldn't be going along with being criminals. Well, baby, you gonna have to be, because they're about to make you a criminal for doing good things. I hate to break it to you. I don't know why I'm having such a difficult time spelling criminalization right now, but it really is giving me hell. And I know I still spelled it wrong. Criminalizations. Woo, child. I got there, y'all. I got there. New era criminalizations. So here we have two officers who in a court of law have been sentenced. They have been, found guilty by a jury. They've been sentenced by a judge. They have been sent to prison, but then they get pardoned by a fellow felon, the president of the United States, who has 34 felony convictions. They get pardoned by him, and now they're able to go back to the police force. This is very clearly a shift in what is criminal. When I talk so ardently about the continued genocide of Black people in America, I am trying to remind you that this is a place where it took a long time before it was actually criminal to kill Black people and have repercussions. And even now, as we have seen when it comes to police officers, as we have seen in the attempt to get the guys off and not even bring them to any sort of justice, who chased down and took the life of Ahmaud Arbery, as we have seen with the efforts now to pardon Derek Chauvin, what? We know that the effort is still going to not criminalize killing Black people. So the mother of Karan Hilton Brown came to a press conference where the mayor, Muriel Bowser, was speaking. And this is how she was treated.
I said, do you know the pardons of these officers is very much unconstitutional? Do you understand that? I'm asking you. Did you don't touch me? Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Ms. Hilton, if you would step outside.
I tried to talk to you. I tried to ask you, and I'm asking you again. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Do not put your hands on me. Do not put your hands on me. Did you tell President Trump that Quran is illegal? Do not touch me. You didn't tell him that. Okay. So when he said that, did you tell him that do not touch me? Do not put your hands on me. Do not put your hands on me. You did not tell him that. Did you let him know that the pardon of those officers are unconstitutional? Do not touch me. Do not put your hands. Did you tell him that? I asked you before. Did you tell him that?
No, Ms. Hilton, I had to talk to the president about your son.
this this deeply disturbed me. This deeply disturbed me. It deeply disturbed me to see all of these police officers surrounding this woman. And, you know, I'm going to dovetail real quick right here. I was watching this and I was like, why is like my chest is getting like I'm having a PTSD moment when I first watched it. And I was like, I've never been surrounded by police. And then I remembered that when I got kicked out of that party by Vanessa Anderson, who is Issa Rae's publicist, this is what the security guards did to me. They surrounded me. And I realized as I was watching this that I felt it in my body because I've been in a similar situation where I am being surrounded by people who have been given the jurisdiction to harm me if I don't exit on their word. And I am so dismayed at the fact that once again, people allowed this to happen. Look at all of these people standing up there watching this happen because this is excused. We have become a society, or maybe we always were, that allows for this, that when we see this thing happening, we decide, well, it must be for a good reason. It must be because it is deserved. When in actuality, this is completely unnecessary. This woman is not a threat in any shape, way, or form, but she is being criminalized as if she is. And this black woman is watching her do it. And if y'all wonder why Amanda always coming for black women, because I expect better from us. I expect better from us. And so that's why I'm always holding us to a level of honesty and morals and principles, because we should know better. Because we've been her. I'm going to tell you now, they would have arrested me that day. They would have arrested me that day. Absolutely. Because there's no way that's happening on my watch with me in silence. She would have been, Miss Seals, you need to leave, Miss Seals. Yes. And KW said, exactly, let me stand real still so I'm not next. So much of what I'm trying to do on this show is really just speak to y'all and hope that all 666 of you who are watching, that maybe today you decide not to be a bystander in whatever form that exists. If you're wondering why I do this, why I get up and put this show together every day, I am doing my best to encourage people to not be bystanders. I don't want to be the only not bystander. I don't want to be the only one who's going into the fray, as Nasra says, who with it. And I know that it's the same way that we say, America is messing up the whole world, is the same way that we can also be a change in the world. When Haiti stood up and took their revolution and took their freedom, that inspired so many other places to say, we're going to do it now too. I send my love to this woman who is continuing to fight for her son, who is continuing to stand for her son. And I saw the comments on this post and I wanted to come back to Instagram and fight these people. Because when I tell you the amount of people in the comments saying, she need to take that up with Donald Trump, now with Muriel Bowser. Oh my God. When did we become so deferential? When? First of all, Muriel Bowser is the mayor of the city where this woman pays taxes. That is who she needs to be addressing, because that woman is the person who is her closest connection to Donald Trump. 1. 2, Muriel Bowser, as the mayor of DC, knows when people are being reinstated to her police force that were pardoned by the president. She allowed it. She was also talking about how President Trump, because he doesn't know anything what he's talking about, made a reference to Karan Hilton Brown as somehow being an illegal immigrant and thus justifying the police killing of him and why they should get pardoned. First of all, even if he was illegal, they shouldn't be pardoned. But second of all, that's just not true. And it's clear that this woman has attempted to talk to Muriel Bowser, and she has not made time to have a meeting with her. And here comes Muriel Bowser sitting here saying, no, I have not talked to the president about your son. These politicians are not public servants. And if you're wondering, Amanda, how do I know the difference? You're going to feel the difference. First of all, I don't think anybody in the federal government is a public servant at this point, because I don't think they're able to be. Even if that's where their hearts are, I don't think they're able to be that. And that goes for all the squad. I know that some of them, that is where their heart is. But the system is not allowing them to do that. The same way that there are no such thing as good cops, because there is no scenario in policing that allows for there to be a continuous effort of being a good cop. You might have scenarios and situations, but the environment itself is bigger than you. So when we talk about local government and embedding yourself in figuring out how to be a part of supporting, shifting, dismantling local government, you're going to need to look at who are public servants. A public servant is somebody who understands that they are stepping into the position of being available as a representative to the public. They are not speaking for the public. They speak on behalf of. They work on behalf of. It is a job of servitude. That is what the role is. It's a hospitality position. And it is not one that should garner you any financial gain, unless you are getting paid on the other side of it for doing speaking engagements and writing books about all the good you was doing. And I know that I sound like an idealist. I know that people be looking at me like, oh my God, Amanda doesn't live in reality. You always talking about egalitarianism and humanitarianism. That just ain't the way of the world. Well, listen, it's the way of the world I want to live in. And I'm going to fight and speak and stand for that on a regular basis. I will keep coming back into these human bodies to continue to push that. Because if the idea exists, then it's possible. And that's how I believe. That is what I believe. If the idea exists, it is possible. Muriel Bowser, shame on you. Shame on everybody that was in that room that didn't raise your voice. Shame on anyone that sees cops acting out of order and does not make it their business to, at the very least, let them know you're acting out of order. This woman was criminalized. This is what I mean by a new era of criminalization. This woman was criminalized for sitting there and talking about her son. Again, I want to say she was sitting. She wasn't even standing until they made her leave. She was sitting with a purse on her lap and her hands visibly available. And she had to get searched to get in that room. So there was nothing that she was doing there that was criminal. She was simply interrupting. She was interrupting. And I want you to be very clear about this. When Kamala Harris was speaking and Palestinian activists interrupted her and she said, I'm speaking now, and people thought that was a flex, that wasn't a flex for the people. That was not a flex for the people. That was a figurehead flex. That was a flex for the ruling class. I'm speaking now. As if you saying anything, because she don't say nothing ever. I'm speaking now. Well, maybe if you would let these people speak ever, maybe if you would speak to these people, they wouldn't feel the need to interrupt you. when Chris Cuomo was interviewing Maxine Waters, and she was like cutting him off about what's going on with the fires in California, and was like, you need to not be talking about politics right now. We need to talk about helping these people. People were like, see, that's right. Auntie Maxine got him together. No, you are a politician. We should be talking about politics. You don't run an organization that's going to be helping these people get food and housing. And if you are a part of that, then you should be vocalizing exactly what your office is doing and who you're doing it with right now. I don't know what, we love to do this performance of black women standing up until it's black women standing up. Because I'm a black woman standing up and they love to shut me up. This black woman was standing up for her son and they was shutting her up. Rest in peace to Karan Hilton Brown. And it is deplorable that these police officers were put back on the force. And I'm going to keep paying attention to, hopefully they are removed now that this is brought to light. And sometimes I'd be like, what's the point of even talking about these things? Because we have to keep talking about things to bring them to light, because so much of this is about keeping up appearances, and shame ends up being the only thing that shuts shit down. Here we go with even more annoyance. They're going to get back pay for 4 years. You know what? So I want you to know that today we have a lot of stories that are really just annoying and frustrating. And so I felt it necessary to just integrate some other images into the show as like little breaks. So here we have one of those breaks so that we can just take a little pause and just enjoy something that has nothing to do with how terrible the world is right now. So enjoy this.
Hi. Hi. Good morning.
One more time.
Hi. Hi. Good morning.
I love it. Hi. Hi. Good morning. Okay. All right. So we're going to have to get into our next story. All right. We're going to get into our next story as we continue on. I'm trying to find this other video. But where did I put that? Let's get into it. So as we continue to talk about the ways in which criminalization is shifting, we go next to the FBI. Kash Patel is now the head of the FBI. He is a maniac. You can tell by his eyes that he clearly got something going on. And is, how do I put it? He just, to me, I feel like I just see him and I get uncomfortable. I feel like the way that he speaks, the way that he talks is not like that of somebody who is in a position that is supposed to take care of people. It's very clearly to me someone that wants to rule over people. Like that is his vibe. And when I see him, I get uncomfortable. Nonetheless, we gonna have to see him right now. So, why is this not working? So, hold on, let me get this together. There it is. Okay. So, this headline should really frighten you. Trump's FBI moves to criminally charge major climate groups. Y'all, the FBI is moving to criminalize groups like Habitat for Humanity for receiving grants from the Environmental Protection Agency under the Biden administration. Citibank revealed in a court filing Wednesday that it was told to freeze Habitat for Humanity's bank accounts at the FBI's request. Reminder, Habitat for Humanity builds homes for the unhoused, build homes for folks whose homes are no longer livable. Also, Jimmy Carter, the former U.S. president, huge and hugely involved with Habitat for Humanity. The FBI alleges that the groups are involved in possible criminalizations, possible criminal violations, including conspiracy to defraud the United States. Some other organizations that are being targeted are the Appalachian Community Capital Corporation, the Coalition for Green Capital, and the DC Green Bank. I'm trying to make it make sense why this is happening. First of all, the reality around trying to make something criminal that was handed down from the federal government before is nonsensical. I don't know how that is even possible. They're creating crimes. They're literally creating crime. These organizations accepted grants that were legally given to them, and now they are stating that these organizations are defrauding the U.S. government. Where is the fraud? Where is the fraud? The fraud is that these people believe that any assistance given to anything that challenges corporate gain is fraudulent. It is specifically organizations that are helping people through the use of grants that are around climate change. So you may wonder, well, how does Habitat for Humanity fit into that? So basically, climate change and climate and racial inequality as it relates to environment and environmental racism largely in part has to do with where homes are built. So you have entire neighborhoods that then are implanted with an incinerator, right? Within the neighborhood. You have entire neighborhoods that have been built around industries that they find out later are really dropping a lot of cancer into the air, a lot of cancer causing chemicals into the air, into the water, etc. You have a lot of communities that are built lower income communities that are built adjacent to nuclear power plants, coal mining plants, etc. And those people will naturally have less quality water, less quality air, and thus they have less quality living conditions. They are developing diseases that are related to bad water, bad air, etc. And if we're in a nation that considers itself a first world nation, there is simply no reason that any of that should be existing, only because they have to keep a lower class in order to have an upper class. So the government continues to criminalize immigrants, women, protesters, and now they are taking that to another level. Habitat Humanity teaches skills as well. Habitat for Humanity is an incredibly important organization for helping folks in poverty get a leg up. And what we are witnessing is an effort to create an even lower class. I don't see how this is going to help them, but they must have a plan. Because what ends up happening is you put people they put people's backs against the wall. Then they have nothing to lose. Then they rise. And that's when you deploy your cop cities. And your cop cities are able to then bring all of those people into private prisons where they are now forced to do private labor for companies that have invested in these private prisons. And you now have a free labor force because the Constitution never changed the 13th Amendment. Javon, I think I just explained it, why you need a lower class to have an upper class. Upper class does not work. So the upper class does not work. Their money is made off of investments. They don't actually work. Like when you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like they talk about the fact that like the upper class does not work. They create charities that are supposed to be a way for them to look like they are helping the lower people and, you know, reaching back. But ultimately, those charities just serve as philanthropical efforts to put money through to lower their tax expense. So when we have an upper class, it necessitates there being a lower class to do the work of the companies that they invest in so that they don't have to. Does that clear it up more? Now, in an egalitarian community, everybody would have some responsibility of some kind, right? In an egalitarian society, everybody's skills are somewhat implemented in a certain way. So, you know, when you read the series by N.K. Jemisin, The Fifth Gate, is it The Fifth Gate? No. I mean, I've read all these books, but N.K. Jemisin wrote these incredible books, and she's kind of like the new, they call her like the new Octavia Butler. But in her book, The Fifth Season, Obelisk Gate, and the Stone Sky, the world that exists there has what's called comms. And in the comms, essentially everybody has a purpose in these comms. And you better hold up your end of the bargain, or else you're not going to get into a comm. And they require the comms because the world itself, like the physical earth itself, is so unstable in terms of when shifts may happen that people require community to survive. So you have comms that exist all over this globe that exist based on everybody within the community having particular skill sets. And the world that these people claim to want for the United States is a vision where a small amount of people control the wealth and everybody else is either in servitude to the government by like belief and or in servitude to the government by their job. So what do you guys think about that? Trini Dominican says, it's the logical progression. They're trying to get America back to being as wealthy as it once was. It was only able to become wealthy due to centuries of free labor. Do you hear this? Now, the thing about this whole like getting America to wealth, America is a wealthy country. The entire world is run on debt. So the truth of America's wealth is really based on its ability to accrue more debt. The dollar is not backed by gold bars anymore. We know that. So it becomes a question of what is the goal of getting us back to this, I don't know, preemptive version of America's debt? Why is that? Of America's wealth. Like, why is that something that we are needing to go back to? What's the goal? And I got to tell you, I feel like there's I don't even know what New World Order means, but I feel like it got something to do with that. I feel like it got something to do with that. So I just want to just point that out because I feel like it's Disco Kitchen says, I think that it's all an attempt to zap our energy and focus on them. Trump's booty has been a focal point for the last 10 years. We've been programmed with childish white boys and their antics. Agreed. Antonio says, in the hole digging for everybody else, specifically black people, is the holes they're going to fall in. I don't understand that. Write that one again, because I think there may be a typo in there. Jennifer says, they mad because honestly, it's the party of micropenises. Trump looks at the map, sees U.S. is small in Africa, and his ego is immediately wounded. Fair. Rena B says, capitalism requires constant growth. With tech advances, we should all have 4-hour work weeks. But instead, the ruling class has to take control by force, which also speaks to why they're making people come back into the office, because they need to control by force. And if you're not in the office, they can't keep an eye on you, right? They can't control you. I'm still convinced Trump is an enemy of the state. Well, yes and no. I mean, the state, put it this way, they're both bad. So, yes. Also, he is the state in his own way, and they bad too. So Shelley says, that's why I think it's important to make a distinction between dictatorships and authoritarian governments so we know how to fight it. Well, I don't. I think at the end of the day, we were in an authoritarian government and we are headed into a dictatorship. I don't know that there really is. I mean, I would love for you to elaborate on what is the difference in fighting either one of them, because I feel like the same efforts need to be put forth in both. And there is a false sense of safety around fighting through the courts and fighting through the law when they are actively disregarding the law. And, hey, guess what? Insurance is me. Get the hell out of here then. You could have kept that comment to yourself and gone upon your merry way. And now I'm yelling at you. Maybe you need to get yelled at. Because, yeah, it's not 9 a.m. and it may be 9 a.m. in Vegas, but it's 11:43 where I am. And you need to wake the hell up. I hate people like you. Get out of here and don't come back. Ban her from here, Rolando, please. Wasting everybody's energy. I don't know why people feel the need to even say things like that. I don't know why. Rolando said, she's gone. Gone. Oh, gone. You're gone. Girl, you're gone. Girl, you're gone. I don't know why people want me to talk like this. This is not going to happen. I don't talk like this. I've never talked like this. And none of the things I'm talking about call for this volume. Let's get back to people with a brain. Ure says the administration is also going hard after law firms and intimidating them. Yes, some of them are afraid to sue the administration. Today's The Daily Podcast covers this a bit. I'll check that out. Armin says she need a wake-up call for real. Yes. Black Town Hall said Atlanta police officer Ralph Woolfolk, who is investigating... I don't care. They want to destroy this house and move to Israel. moving their wealth there like the Zionists did 100 years ago. Interesting. I never thought of that as a concept. Huh. And Celine says China's economy has grown at an unprecedented rate, challenging U.S. dominance in global trade and manufacturing. Yep. And China does not have military bases anywhere. They have presence, but not in a militarized way. So I don't know. America tries to do this like stronghold, and this pressure cooker that they're trying to put people under is, I don't feel sustainable. Israel closed schools and universities near Gaza yesterday before they did what they did. I'm not surprised. So this, again, goes along with the new criminalization. So now it is literally illegal. And there's a whole story I'm going to do about this when I come back from my break. Or maybe I'll actually put it up for you guys while I'm gone. But around words that are no longer allowed in the U.S. government. And these words are words like gay. Actually, I think gay is allowed. Trans is not allowed. Woman. Literally. Woman. Climate. None of this is allowed. Feminist. Words not being allowed is how you know that we're in a dictatorship and not just an authoritarian. And I still want to hear from Shelley about what the difference is in fighting a dictatorship and an authoritarian regime. Essentially an authoritarian, we can just go to quick definitions, right? So an authoritarian regime, an authoritarian regime is defined as a concentration of power in a leader or an elite not constitutionally responsible to the people. Unlike totalitarian states, they will allow social and economic institutions not under government control and tend to rely on passive mass acceptance rather than active popular support. Okay? Then we'll look at what is a dictatorial regime definition. A dictatorship is an autocratic form of government which is characterized by a leader or a group of leaders who hold governmental powers with few to no limitations. I don't necessarily feel like those are very different. An authoritarian regime has a concentration of power in a leader or an elite not constitutionally responsible to the people. That is facts. A dictatorship is an autocratic form of government which is characterized by a leader or a group of leaders who hold governmental powers with few to no limitations. Baby, we have both. We have both. Maybe they came up with some noosh, but we have both. Because the president is a dictator, and I do believe, like Paloma says, that they exist. Because essentially, you require, particularly in a nation like the United States, where there's a covenant with the Constitution, you require there being a person of power in a dictatorship position to be able to give those elites who don't have a responsibility to the people constitutionally, you require the dictatorship to empower those people to do what they want outside of the Constitution. The two are convergence. The two converge. I believe they work in tandem. and there's interest convergence. So I think both of those things are happening. Not I think, I know both of those things are happening as we see this person right here who has been empowered by the dictator in chief. And we see that the Supreme Court has provided him constitutionally with the power to be impervious to punishment. They have literally constitutionally given him a dictatorship. And then he, with his dictatorship, has given Elon Musk, has given Google, has given folks that we don't even know about the power to run people's lives legislatively through lobbying that they don't have power over changing through a democracy. The only reason a king is more powerful than a dictator is because ultimately a king is crowned by God. And so people don't challenge that. And Adrian says, my mom grew up in a small black town in North Carolina in the 1940s. No welfare, no SNAP, no loans, no government, no nothing. We have to relearn that. When I tell you that I have been saying this when I have my radio show, the Amanda Seal Show, for the past 2 years, I've been saying this, that we're going to be forced back into segregation. So we're going to need to learn how to coexist and how to understand mutual aid. We're going to need to relearn trust. All the above. We have no choice. And I've been trying to kind of encourage folks to see that as a, as a positive. But a lot of people, I feel like, see that as a negative, like they won or something. Trump is now airing a state TV channel. What? The recent advertisement proclaiming the establishment of a state-run media channel as the authoritative source of the news and pledging to present the policies of the United States. So, Shelley, if you were wondering if we're in a dictatorship, here's your answer. Aligns with the Trump administration's broader strategy to reshape government-funded media. This initiative coincides with the dismantling of the U.S. Agency of Global Media, the parent organization of Voice of America. This is from Vote In or Out. The parent organization of Voice of America through an executive order signed by Donald Trump. The administration justified this move by labeling Voice of America as exceedingly partisan, leading to the placement of over 1,300 employees on administrative leave and the cessation of broadcasts in regions like Asia and the Middle East. The proposed state-run channel is expected to broadcast content that aligns closely within the administration's perspectives, effectively serving as a platform to disseminate official policies and viewpoints. So I guess, will Fox News still exist? This development raises concerns about media independence. You think? As it mirrors actions in other nations where government-controlled media has been utilized to suppress dissent and promote authoritarian agendas. This is also where they will dox people. This is also where they will use this as a place to put people's faces to send out their minions. Critics argue that such moves undermine the principles of a free press, obviously, and could embolden autocratic regimes by diminishing the United States' credibility in advocating for global press freedom. So there's that's there, that lets you know that's a big advancement. They threw out Prem. He owes me a text, actually. Well, of course they threw out Zateo. Okay. The promo commercial is crazy. Do y'all want me to post the promo commercial? Because I can do that. I can post the promo commercial. And for those of you listening on podcast, you should come over to YouTube and watch. It's very rare that I feel like it's like you need to, but I would definitely say that there was stuff today that I think that you need to see with your own eyes. So come on over. So I'm gonna post this Jessica Ramsey said, might as well post that damn commercial. Might as well. So here is the promo commercial for Trump's state-run channel that they are starting. Okay, so if you have the ability to get dual citizenship somewhere else, you need to do it. If you have not gotten a passport, you need to get it. If you cannot afford to get a passport, I would be really, really curious to know if there's really people in here who can't afford to get a passport, who doesn't have a passport. I'm going to do something right now. Hold on one second. I want to start a poll. So this question is for, can you afford a passport? And I think it's like $165. Can someone find out how much a passport is for me? Because so someone in here doesn't have an address. It's 130. Okay. So for the most part, if you have grandparents from somewhere, you can get dual citizenship. If in a lot of in other places, there are in other places you have to have a parent. Make sure you booklet and not the passport card, or make sure you get the booklet and not the passport card. Correct. You need to get a passport book, because the passport card only gets you into Mexico and Canada. Okay, Celine has got it right here. So, first time adult passport book, $130 is the application fee plus $35 for the execution fee. And that's $165. We're not even going to talk about the passport card. For a renewal, it's $65. And for the for the passport, it is $130 to renew. So I'm looking at the poll. So 12% of folks can't afford to get a passport. Nia, the card is the passport card is beneficial if you're, it's really just one of those things where you have another another form of valid government ID in your wallet without having to carry the booklet around. That's all I've ever felt it was really helpful for. You find yourself having to show two forms of ID in places, and most of us only have like our ID and a passport. So there's that. There's also, like, people watch your added the plus of the cost of a pic. I mean, I think you can get a passport picture for like $10 maybe. So, and yes, you can go to a local Walgreens. But you should also know, and this is in the case of anyone who is getting a passport or who is filing for a passport in another country. You should also know that other countries have different specifications for what your passport picture needs to be. So for instance, like for Grenada, like I have to show my ears, my hair has to be up, I'm not supposed to be smiling, and I'm supposed to be dressed like I'm in a business, like I'm a banker. You can also pay $15 to get your passport photo at the post office or at CVS, apparently. I know that in Grenada also, your passport photo has to be very like flat. So I remember there was beef with me and the lady at the passport office in Grenada because she said, your picture too bright. Your picture too bright. And I was like, what do you mean my picture is too bright? Well, you have brightness here, 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 here. So basically, like, you see this? She was like, yeah, that can't be on your photo. Ciao. So there's that. Apparently UPS also does passport photos. I did not know that. The UPS store does passport photos. Interesting. Yeah. So yes, honey, business headshots for your passport. Wait, let me show y'all my passport photo for my Grenada passport. And you're going to be like, oh, you were serious. I'm so mad they made me do my hair like this. I'm so mad I'm just so mad. Every time I see this photo, I get annoyed. Every time. Oh. Okay, look. Are y'all ready? Look at my passport photo. Look how annoyed I am. What is this flat bun that they made me do? And this is actually better than the first one. The first one that I took, because this is my renewal. The first one that I took, I really look like I work at a bank. Like, I really, really look like I work at a bank. I wonder if I have it here. No, I think they take it from you. Yeah. So, but my face is like this. I'm annoyed. All right. I told you it was going to be a long show. We've got more to discuss. So yes, Yasmin, the ballerina bun, just irritated. I don't believe in the passport hard card. If you could afford to have both, I would always say have both, but I just don't. I just believe, like, no, have the book. Okay. And Miss Latia, I think you're behind in the show. So we have another form of new era criminalization in what we have been seeing with these deportations. Now, Mahmoud Khalil is one story of the deportations that have been taking place, but recently, recently a doctor at Brown University was also deported for no reason. She was coming back into the United States from Lebanon, and she was stopped and sent back on a plane to Paris, even after there had already been an order put in place to stop her from being sent back. All right? We also know that all of these Guatemalan folks who have been sent to El Salvador under the auspices of they are criminals, under the auspices of they are what's it called? Under the auspices of they are like leaders in gangs. We know that all of these people, they didn't get any due process. It was just decided that they were that. And here we see them being taken off of these planes in such extreme ways. Look at the way that they are being manhandled. And it's just like, this is what it is. The El Salvadorian president released this video, which is highly produced with drone shots. And I mean, it looks like it's from a film. And this is showing these prisoners' journey to this very notorious prison in El Salvador. And apparently this was justified under the 1798 Act. And Trump is like, oh, these are bad people. These are a very bad group of people. How do you even know? How do you even know? They didn't have any due process. And I want to remind people that when you are in the United States, you here, as somebody who is here, are given access to constitutional laws. I hate this, but it's so true. Jenny said it's all based on vibes. It actually is all based on vibes, because this, I saw this post where this woman said that she was literally coming into the United States and she is a United States citizen. And the TSA agent was like, she just scanned her passport. And then she went to the TSA line, like with her stuff. And the agent was like, let me see your passport. She's like, I just showed them my passport. He's like, well, I want to see it again. And she was like, why do you need to see my passport again? And he said, because I want to make sure you're a citizen. And she's like, I just showed my passport. And then he said, well, you fit the description. She was like, what the hell does that mean? And then his supervisor came over and said, you fit the description. You look like somebody who may be here illegally. And she's like, so the people who don't fit the description, you don't ask them these questions? And they said, no, we don't. They said, no, we don't. So all of this is going on. And we have Mahmoud Khalil, who we know was a protester on a green card here in the United States and was taken from his home and disappeared. Right? Now, a recent interview with Michelle Martin of NPR and Troy Edgar, the deputy security of the Department of Homeland Security.
Did he support Hamas? Exactly what did he do?
Well, I think you could see it on TV, right?
How did he support Hamas? Exactly what did he do?
Well, I think you could see it on TV, right? It's this is somebody that we've invited and allowed the student to come into the country, and he's put himself in the middle of the process of basically pro-Palestinian activity. And at this point, like I said, the Secretary of State can review his visa process at any point and revoke it.
Forgive me, he's a permanent resident. He's not a visa holder. He's a legal permanent resident. He has the green card. At least he did until it's alleged that it was revoked. So look, if the allegation is that Mr. Khalil organized protests and made speeches after which other people engaged in prohibited activity or say violent activity, well, Mr. Trump gave a political speech on January 6, 2021, after which some individuals engaged in violent and illegal acts. How is this any different?
Yeah, well, like I said, President Trump's a citizen and president of the United States. This is a person that came in under a visa, And again, the Secretary of State at any point can take a look and evaluate that visa and decide if they want to revoke it. And
he's a legal
if
permanent resident. I have to keep insisting on it. He is a legal permanent resident. So what is the standard? Is any criticism of the Israeli government a deportable offense?
Like I said, I think that at this point, when he was entered into the country on a student visa, at any point we can go through and evaluate what his status is, and the Secretary of State
is any criticism of the United States government a deportable offense?
Like I said, if you go through the process and you're a student and you're here on a visa and you go through at any point,
is any criticism of the government a deportable offense?
It's like I said, as a student, he comes to the United States on a student visa, applies. Well, let me put it this way, Michelle. Imagine if he came in and filled out the form and said, I want a student visa. They asked him, what are you going to do here? And he said,
he was
I'm
a
going
student.
to go and protest and
so
join
is protest a deportable offense?
We would never have let him into the country.
Is protesting a deportable offense?
Like I said, you're focused on protesting. I'm focused on the visa process. He went through a legal process, came into the country.
Are you saying that he lied on his application? He's a lawful permanent resident married to an American citizen.
Well, I think if he would have declared he's a terrorist, we would have never let him in.
And what did he engage in that constitutes terrorist activity?
Michelle, have you watched it on TV? It's pretty clear.
No, it isn't. Well, explain it to those of us who have not, or perhaps others have not. What exactly did he do?
Well, I think it's clear, or we shouldn't be talking about it. The reality is that if you watch and see what he's done on the university.
Do you not know? Are you telling us that you're not aware? You don't know what he did?
No, I find it interesting that you're not aware.
I think you could explain it to us. I think others would like to know exactly what the offenses are.
So what you saw right there was an incredibly unskilled attempt at deflecting. All right. And Michelle Martin clearly ain't having it, is not here for it, and wants nothing to do with it. There is no outward exemplification of this person being involved in terrorist activities. When we talk about new era criminalizations, we have to acknowledge that they are now considering anyone who is supporting Palestine to be a terrorist, because the same way that they have decided that all Palestinians are Hamas, they have now decided that all supporters of Palestinians are Hamas. This is, of course, not accurate and not true. However, it is the language and it is the way that they are using to create more discriminalization in this nation and more suppression. Everybody that you see that they're doing this to right now, that you say, oh, well, they could do that to them because they got blah, 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 they're going to find a way to be able to do it to you too. So I know that there's immigrants here who have now been naturalized citizens and are now saying, oh man, I wish he had been a citizen. Listen closely to what that man said. He said he had a visa. At some point, he had a visa. Therefore, we can revoke that at any time. So if you are an immigrant here that now has citizenship, you also had a visa. And they can revoke that at any time. You might be a citizen here, but they have now also decided that they are criminalizing any talk against Israel. They are criminalizing any support of immigrants. They are now trying to criminalize anyone who is against judges. Anyone who is against Trump and Donald Trump. They be saying this, Trump and Elon Musk. Now, they be saying it real loosely, but they could do that. They could do that. And they are actively creating pathways to criminalize anyone who they feel like it. Again, we just talked about that they're criminalizing any organizations, nonprofit organizations that have taken grants in support of their efforts of changing our, of lowering our climate change problems. That's not the right words, but I don't know how else to say. My PSA is gonna reflect on this, but when you're listening to these things, and I'm talking about these things, I want to know, what does it do for you all? What does it what is does it flip a switch? I know that it enrages you, but what does it do for you all? Because we can't just sit here and talk. You know, we can't just sit here and talk. And I do think that, Shelley, I think that optimism at this frame, optimism as it applies to this government and this point in time, I consider to be toxic positivity. So when you say I'm just trying to be optimistic because authoritarian governments usually allow some diversity in social organization, and if it's a dictatorship, I don't know the path forward for us. I think that is honestly, and this is no shade, of course, but I do think that is a very naive way of looking at what's going on, particularly when they have demonstrated for you in no uncertain terms that they have no interest in diversity. They have made it their mandate to eliminate diversity. So I'm not really sure that it is practical to consider that in this context. All right, so let's hear what some of y'all have to say. Celine84 says, it makes me want to organize and find like-minded individuals to form a new chapter to find ways to dismantle this oppression. We love to hear that. We love to hear that. Camden says, how effective do you feel it would be to sue the United States government? I mean, I think, listen, there's two ways of effectiveness, right? If you think doing it will make you feel better, then do it. If you think it will actually do anything, well, the United States government as it stands is comprised of a Supreme Court that is by and large loyal to Donald Trump. It is comprised of a Congress that is by and large loyal to Donald Trump, and it is comprised of Donald Trump. And then along with that, you have the power structure of the oligarchy, which is comprised of corporations that have now gotten allegiance from Donald Trump that he will do their bidding. So I think that when we talk about suing the United States government, it's very difficult also because Donald Trump recently passed an executive order that says that if you want to sue the United States government, you will have to pay a bond cost. And the cost is whatever they say it will cost to sue them. And you have to pay that up front. And if you lose, you have to pay in addition to that, whatever the costs are for the government to fight your case. Yes. Paloma says, creates a sense of community that validates the experience and allows space to explore how to demonstrate acts of resistance. Darzan J said, thinking about how can I make an underground railroad? I mean, do we know what an underground railroad is? An underground railroad is really just an underground pathway to freedom and liberation. So it doesn't have to just be associated with slavery. It's an non-outward pathway to liberation. So it's really just a resistance pathway. Ure says, being among like-minded folks helps me understand that I'm not fighting this alone. It gives me courage and helps me feel less isolated. We love to hear that. Natasha says, it pisses me off. It creates fear. It makes me talk to my family and friends about issues. This is so necessary. Talking to your family and friends about these things is incredibly important because so many of us have been taught to believe that we shouldn't be talking about these things, that it ruins the mood. Well, the mood is getting ruined because the nation is. Lauren says, myriad emotions, mind expansion, evolution, inspiration, activation, and so much more is gained here. Myriad is my favorite word. Well, one of my favorite words. My favorite word is rhythm. My mother's favorite word is surreptitious. All right. Fatima says, it shows me that it's more imperative than ever that we stand up or else it becomes more dangerous for others on the forefront. Amir says, we listen and we don't judge. Oh, I judge. I don't. I don't. I judge. Absolutely. Think it's incredibly important to judge. Radicals and revolutionaries don't give in to despair. They fight. And when you're fighting, you have to believe you can and will win. Otherwise, you're wasting your time fighting. Correct. But you're wasting your time fighting if you're believing that you can fight something that you can't beat. Or if you're feeling like there are spaces where you're going to be supported that you won't be supported. This is why I was so irritated when Ice Cube decided he was going to go talk to Donald Trump with the Platinum Plan for America. He had made it abundantly clear that he was not interested in anything for black people. This is why I get annoyed when Killer Mike says, like, I'll just go with whoever's going to be down for us. Neither of these folks are down for us. So if our energy is being put towards them, then we are basically putting our energy in disparate directions. Right? In directions that aren't necessarily helpful. So radicals and revolutionaries, they don't give in to despair, but they are deeply realistic. They're deeply realistic about where the actual efforts have to be activated, because bodies are on the line, livelihoods are on the line, children are on the line. And so you can't be, you really have to be thoughtful about where that direction is going. Hamid said, why the F are folks still talking about what Democrats are going to do? Listen, I have no idea. That's why I had to catch myself when I was on MSNBC. Like, why are we still talking about this? The Democrats are not going to do none of this. They've told you this. They've showed you with action. What else do you want? We need to be talking about things that we can actually shift. M. Coley says, we got to create community, unite, and it inspires me to explore and research how to make an impact as an individual. I hope that what we're doing here as AmandaLanders is really expanding our efforts at believing in each other, as well as, again, stepping up our courage. And I love that you talked about research, because that is another element that we have to get back into doing. Like, as adults, we have to still be in learning mode. We have to still be in learning mode. We have to still be in research mode. It can never stop. It can never stop. Now, Sarah Gabriel says, slow them down in the courts and get people out of the country or build resistance. That's the thing. The slowing down in the courts thing is like, they're already showing you that it's not slowing them down, right? They are showing you within a week that they do not care about the courts. They are actively saying any judges that are challenging Donald Trump's executive orders are enemies of the state. So they're setting this up. They're going to remove judges from the bench. Oh, believe that. Because they're going to delegitimize them. The same way that they delegitimized the pardons, they're in the process of delegitimizing Biden's pardons. They're going to delegitimize Biden's appointees. Remember I said it. And I just want to remind you, you finished it before I even could say it. Stop using ChatGPT, please. Everybody cut it out. Okay. And, to me, it's like, if you're going to have to pick a side, I'm like, what? You're not going to have to pick a side. You've already been put on a side. Even these cops who think that as long as I'm a cop, I'm safe. You don't have family? Like, trust me. All of it. It affects everybody. And the United States is incredibly disparate. It's not like Germany, where everybody was German except for the Romani people, and you had a couple leftover GIs and whatnot. The United States intersectionality exists in a way that no other countries does. So when I see the way that they are trying to silo folks, that is going to be very difficult, because you can only silo folks but so much, because people do have families, and we have blended families, and we have a lot of folks who have been in one space and now they're in another space. So I don't know why anybody would think that it's the same purity as the rest of the places that have gone through this. But America, the United States, is not like any other country where this has taken place. The United States is not like any other country where they have tried to do this. So I am not sure where this is going to go, but that's where my piece of positivity exists, is in that I do think they have a false sensibility of patriotism and purity in this nation. And I think that they are overextending their trust that folks will follow them instead of following their hearts. They've spent a lot of time building Donald Trump up to be a deity so that people would feel like they have to follow him. I also think there's a lot of things that are going to be shifting. And the world is rising as we speak. You know, Argentina, Serbia, I'll be talking about that tomorrow. The world is rising. And we are not being shown these other examples. Even as we get into our 60-second headlines, yes, the show is still going. It's 12:25. The show is still going. If you're just joining us, welcome to Views from AmandaLand, your source for news and truths by any joke necessary. I am Amanda Seales. And thank you for waking up on the right side of history. We are now into lunch here on the East Coast. And the show is still going because I just felt like there was a lot of stuff that we had to talk about. And my job on this show is not to just tell you the news, but to contextualize the news. And so that is what I'm doing today. I felt like there's a lot of stuff happening that we need to contextualize. So I appreciate everybody who's been here with us. We're at our highest viewership right now, 780. And I hope that we can continue to listen. And if you have to come back later and replay, we appreciate you doing that as well. I want to remind you, for those who don't know, that you can join us on Thursday at Smart, Funny, and Black at the Movies, where I will be watching They Cloned Tyrone with the People. And we'll be talking about the ways in which this film as a comedy uses comedy to do real deep commentary, by the way. It's not surface level commentary that they're doing in this film. But I want to get into how we are using devices that sometimes are... not sometimes, how we're using devices that as of recently, have been really siloed into simply entertainment, and how we can get back to using our art on a higher level. Okay, so make sure you come and join us for that. And I'm going to play the Save Yourself commercial real quick so I can refill my water jug, and then we'll come back for 60-second headlines. Arm yourself with truth. Arm yourself with curiosity. Arm yourself with love. Arm yourself with truth. Arm yourself with curiosity. Arm yourself with love. Arm yourself with community. Arm yourself with courage. Arm yourself with passion. Arm yourself with radical creativity. Save yourself. A new drop from AmandaLand Export. All right, I'm back. I am back. Hello. All right. Thank you all for waiting and chit-chatting amongst each other. It's time for us to get into our 60-second headlines. AmandaLand. 60-second headline. And I run down some news right quick.
Run it down, mama. Put us on.
All right. So as we get into our 60-second headlines, there's so much to say. So we were just talking about protests, and there's been a very egregious ignoring of the protests that have been going on here in the United States, which lets you know that even though Trump is apparently starting his own channel, I'm like, the media, you sure mainstream media ain't doing what you needed to do? Because, baby, they really be fronting, and they have not been really showing the amount of protesting that's been going on. But in addition to this, they have also been actively ignoring the protests by the veterans. Now, we know that the United States has just decided that the veterans are getting cut, their jobs are getting slashed, their benefits are getting slashed, they're closing VA centers around the nation. And they're also, I also want to point out, when I was talking about the intersectionality of things, a lot of these veterans are connected to these police, folks that are in these police forces. So when I'm talking about like my little glimmer of hope, we're getting to that, Latia. When I talk about it's my next topic. My little glimmer of hope, it's that they have not, I don't think that they really understand the ways in which all these different spaces are interconnected and deeply related. So I don't know how they think one thing is not going to affect the other. And that is what gives me the hope that there really is a possibility here for mutiny. But I want to point out this video because I think it's really important to acknowledge that all of these people have been protesting and out here in these streets, and to not have mainstream media sharing their stories is really telling. And you wonder, well, why? Why isn't mainstream media telling these stories? If mainstream media are not on Trump's side, oh my God, the craving for pizza that I just got just now, I don't know where it came from, but it overtook me in such a strong way that I had to say it out loud. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have a margarita pizza before the day is over. I don't know why mainstream media, if they're against Trump, is not being louder about this, but folks are upset.
This is my message to the media. First of all, what you need to know is that I'm a nobody. Unfortunately for you, there are tens of millions of nobodies. If you will not report on these protests, we will bring it to your door. And we will do it every day until you cover the truth of what is happening in this country.
Hey guys, Fred Wellman here with VoteVets. I'm on the street. This is Grand Avenue in St. Louis. We're outside the John Cochran VA Medical Center with a protest and demonstration supporting our veterans, supporting the VA employees, demanding that they don't get cut. Here's the amazing part, you guys. We probably have 500 people in St. Louis on a Friday afternoon who came out to protest and demonstrate and be a part of this conversation.
like that, Andrew. Not mainstream media, but centrist media. Me gusta. I learned a new word today. Protest dog spotted. That's right, Andrew. You better say that. We are the mainstream, not centrist corporate media. You better say that. So D. Williams put out, if people really see veterans protesting, they really would have to choose. The way this country is always talking about thank you for your service. Do you know how nuts it is to just diss the veterans? Like, that don't make no sense to me. That don't make no sense to me. Actually, Chuck Schumer delayed the release of his book for security concerns. Slick and Salacious, which I love that name, said, the issue with the media reminds me of one night I went on a walk in college and noticed how many people had their head in the phone, not looking up very much. It's the digital version of ostrich. Well, here we are. Damn, Isabel. Damn. I don't say thank you for your service to people in the military. I say thank you for your service to teachers. That's what I say thank you to your service for. Thank you for your service to. That's why I say thank you for your service to teachers. That's why I say thank you for your service to postal workers, social workers. Yep. That's why I say thank you for your service. While we're sitting here, the post office called me to give me some tips on how to lower the cost of my shipping because I am, a business. We love it. We got more to talk about. All right. So this was actually a Black Urine News story. So let me just give it its proper. I'll come back to it. The Gaza ceasefire is over, y'all. The Gaza ceasefire has fallen apart. And let me take that back. Because I don't think it fell apart. The Gaza ceasefire was torn apart. It was actively undermined. And the effort by Netanyahu to make it happen was relentless. And, when you see this and you understand that the United States once again is aligned with this, it should make you livid because you know that your money is going to this.
Well, the Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America will see a price to pay. All hell will break loose. And all of the terrorists in the Middle East, again, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, Iranian-backed terror proxies, and Iran themselves should take President Trump very seriously when he says he is not afraid to stand for law-abiding people. He is not afraid to stand up for the United States of America and our friend and our ally Israel. And we know that these successful defensive strikes that took place over the weekend against the Houthis in the Red Sea were indeed successful. We took out some of their leaders, and the Defense Department is set to continue with this campaign if the Houthis continue with their retaliatory measures. The president is going to stand for the navigation, freedom of navigation of our seas, which is a very basic principle that unfortunately the previous administration refused to stand for, and that's why we are in this mess in the Middle East in the first place. President Trump inherited a lot of problems, Sean, because of the incompetence and the weakness of the Biden-Harris administration, but he is focused on fixing them, and our allies and our adversaries better take him seriously.
So her nose job just drives me crazy every time. Like, I don't even know who is her doctor. Who is her doctor? I don't understand the choices. She has no lips anymore. Her face is so Botoxed that she always looks like she's smiling even when she's talking about terrible things. And her nose, well, her nose. Now, in response to this, the Houthis have said this. That's what they said. I can't play it. I can't play the music. I can't play them chanting because they will absolutely come from my show. But these are actually, correction. The Houthis did not say this. In response, Yemenis said this, because just like all Palestinians are not Hamas, all Yemeni are not Houthis. However, the Yemeni people are the ones who are absolutely also being hit with strikes. And it is large amounts of children that are having their lives taken. And all of this is because of a proxy war. This is a proxy war. This is them not wanting to fight Iran directly, so they're going to fight Yemen because Yemen, the Houthis are funded by Iran. That's what this is. But do you see how many people are out there? They ain't come to play with y'all. They didn't come to play with y'all. They're out there saying, we will stand. We will stand. We once again have to continue to raise our voices and support the people of Palestine. I want to remind you that you can take part in this activation that is happening. Where is it? Why isn't it showing? Here in New York City, as well as a number of activations that are happening. And then Land Day is coming up as well. And that is on the 30th. And there's going to be a number of nationwide activations in support of Palestine on Land Day. Eric Trevon says Netanyahu had a corruption trial coming up too. It got extended due to them breaking this ceasefire. These people will literally do absolutely everything and anything to avoid accountability. Yes. So if it means killing a bunch of innocent people, it's fine because they all decide that certain people are worth it and certain people are not. That's it. All right. Our last 60-second headline is actually some good news. I said, I got to give them something today. I said, I got to give them something. All right. So let me give y'all something. So the Sahel states of, hold on, God, hold on. So the Sahel states of Burkina Faso, of Mali, and Niger have come together to form their own currency. Yes. They have come together to form their own currency. And I really am so happy to see this because it is them taking another step in saying we are ousting this we're ousting this colonial government, and it's them taking these colonial governments, and it's them taking another step towards the unification of Africa. And I think it's really important that we understand that all of these folks came into power in coups. So we always hear about coups as a bad thing, right? We always hear about coups as a bad thing that basically is like undermining, the real person. When we know, those of us who read and such, we know that these coups are a lot of times led by the United States, and they are doing so in the for the effort of trying to seize power. So they try to make it look like a coup is a bad thing, but they're actually the ones who are doing the coups, and they aren't doing it for the people. So in this case, these three men became the leaders of their nations in response to coups that put them in position, so to speak, to take back their nations from dictators that had been there in response to American coups. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? So when we see Africa doing this is a big deal. Okay? It's a big deal to see the motherland on this path. And I'm so happy that folks in these nations are getting the opportunity to experience this in real time. You know, these are the types of things that people don't think they'll ever get to see. They're seeing their own faces of their people on money instead of white people. And I know that might be like, wait, what you mean? Yes, because it be Belgians and queens from England and France on their money. And instead you have brothers on the money. And look at all these brothers up here in their military attire with their berets. And then you got Ibrahim Traore on the end. He know he fine. He know he fine. So what Gaddafi was trying to do, Mr. Très Bien, is Gaddafi was trying to create his own a currency, yes, but a currency that would be more powerful than the United States currency. And that was the beef. So that was that. And Sarah, I want to know where you grew up, because you be using Black colloquialisms like girl and sis. And I don't know you, so I don't know if you're appropriating or if that's just like, well, I grew up in around those vibes. So I don't know if I should check you or not. But it does be weird when like this white girl in the avatar is like, girl. Because I'm like, do you really talk like that? Why do you talk like that? Where you from? So shout out to Burkina Faso and to Mali and to what's it called? Niger. Big deals. Big deal. All right, lastly, we got to talk about this. So there is an effort now to take the blacks out the military. And I would like to hear from folks here who may actually be former military or current. Well, if you're a current service member, you probably can't say anything. But I don't know why this would be something that they're trying to do. Because the effort has always been to try to bring more Black people into the military so that they can put more of us on the front lines. And so now I'm like, oh, so why are y'all wanting us not there anymore? I don't know what that's about, but there is this condition, okay? The normal name is razor bumps, but the condition is called pseudofolliculitis barbae. And they're saying, according to Marine Corps Times, the U.S. Marine Corps has stated that any Marine who has been diagnosed with pseudofolliculitis, damn it, I thought I had it that time. Pseudofolliculitis, that's what it is. Get it, follicule, duh. All right, so any Marine who has been diagnosed with pseudofolliculitis barbae has to undergo medical reevaluation within 90 days to see if they will still require a shaving waiver due to the condition. Now, this is, of course, a common result of shaving, but 90% of the individuals in the Marine Corps who suffer from this are Black people. All right? Now, this message was issued March 13th after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered a review of military fitness and grooming standards. And there is now a 4-phase regimen that Marines have to go to over these razor bumps. In the first phase, they avoid shaving for 4 weeks. The second phase, they will allow Marines with moderate to severe cases to stop shaving for 8 weeks or another 4 weeks if they were already going through the first phase, etc. However, in the final fourth phase, Marines whose razor bumps don't improve will be referred to a dermatologist for a potential laser treatment that will be paid for by the government. If you do not get this, Marines who need a waiver for over a year might be removed from service due to the new protocol. What? Does this make any sense to anybody? Now, we know that they just took out homeboy who was on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So I'm just curious, like, what is this about? Now, a lot of Black folks use going to the military to get out of poverty. That's a real thing. So I'm just trying to understand. Also, you're going to laser the hair out of my face so I can be in the military? Why I got to do that? Why do I have to do that? How are these razor bumps affecting me being able to do my job? And why can't we have beards? What is that about? I don't understand this. So this is a surreptitious, my mother's favorite word, a surreptitious effort, but an effort nonetheless to lessen the amount of Black people, Black men in the military. And by the way, in addition to this, they are also scrubbing info on famous Black, Hispanic, and female veterans at the Arlington Cemetery. Literally, they've removed web pages highlighting notable Black, Hispanic, and female veterans in order to comply with Donald Trump. So I don't know what that's all about. And I don't know why it's necessary. And I don't know. Now, normally at this part of the show, I would do How Black Do You Feel Today? But yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. And so instead of doing my typical How Black Do You Feel Today, I'll just play the music. Let me just play the music just for the heck of it. How about that? How black do you feel today? Now, normally, again, I would be using this time to tell you how black I feel today. However, yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. Wasn't it yesterday? St. Patrick's Day took place recently because I saw a lot of green when I was in the world yesterday. So that's why I was like, it must be St. Patrick's Day. But since yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, I figured instead I would play this video.
We don't want your parades. We don't want your shamrock shakes, your green, white and orange cupcakes, your dye the river green and let it be seen by the world that we love Ireland. You can keep it. You can keep your leprechaun hats and your novelty paddy caps. Swap it for a keffiyeh. Swap it for a keffiyeh and let your president see you take to the streets, but not to celebrate us. If you must do something in our name, then take to the streets to say never again. See, you can't celebrate a colonised nation while supporting the colonisation of another. And for Irish Americans, claiming Irish heritage, well, if you're not furiously opposed to this, then any Irishness you think you have is revoked. Even if you didn't vote for him. Don't disrespect your ancestors who fled not just the potato blight, but the intentional starvation and genocide on this land to cram into coffin ships filled with the dying and the sick, in hopes of a better life once they arrived on the other side of the world. Oppose land grabs and forced displacement. Tell Trump he can't have Gaza for his seaside vacations. It's not up for grabs as a private holiday destination. It's a home. It's a heart. It's where the liberation of the whole of Palestine starts. From the river to the sea, the right to return will come to be.
That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to the Irish. The Irish are not like other white folks in certain instances, but the Irish are also very racist. So don't get it twisted. Okay. Let me tell you something. My experience at the Ireland airport, at the Dublin airport, was not a good one. And I feel like they was being super racist towards me and my black friend. Okay. So yes, in some regards, definitely. However, never forget that the Irish came over here, and in order to get position, they literally took on the role of being slave catchers. And that is why the police rankings are so filled with Irish people. That's why. Also, have you ever been to Boston? Yeah. So maybe we're talking about Irish Americans, but when I was in Ireland the first time, I wasn't treated right. Second time I had a great time, but the first time I was like, I'm not liking it. I'm not liking this racism right here. We did a 3-hour show today. I told you it was gonna be long, and you stuck with us, y'all. You stuck with us. That says a lot. PSA. So I know that people want me to be someone who's like just pouring into everyone and, we're all going to make it. I just think that would be an ignoring and a disregarding of my knowledge and understanding of where we are, which is something that I am seeing that is very alarming to me when I'm seeing like the people who are considered to be the smart people still saying that they don't really know where we are. And, I've had to really check my own self when I see, like, I saw Ta-Nehisi Coates in conversation with Joy Reid about the Democrats. And I only saw the clip of Ta-Nehisi dissing the Democrats, so I'm not sure if Joy even, I'm not sure if she responded or what her response was. But there is a deep commitment to the Democrats that Black women have had that has been an incredible impediment to the Democrats being challenged to show up differently. And I don't think enough Black women are willing to admit that it is your allegiance to the Democrats and your unwillingness to challenge them as a party that has allowed them to continue to be feckless and to continue to be wanton in how they operate. For all of us Black women out here talking about we're sitting this out, etc., but basing that on being in allegiance with the Democratic Party, let it be known that the reason the Democratic Party could not win and could not save us in this last election is, one, because the election was rigged, but two, also because the Democratic Party has never been about that. Maybe you're about that, but the Democratic Party is not about that. It's not about saving nobody. It's about saving corporations and donors. That's what it's about. And ultimately, we have to take responsibility that we have been propping up this party who's made us feel like we're a part of this. And that's what it's been for a lot of folks, feeling like we're a part of this. I want to feel like we're a part of this because it's always been Black people that are trying to turn America into what it says it is, even though it's not doing it. America has always been an F-boy. Yeah, girl, I got you. And then got us at all. We're in the same relationship with America that we are in with many of our baby daddies and boyfriends, where we believe in the potential, but we're not actually acknowledging the reality. And so when I see folks in conversation now acting like they have not been a part of that, it is distressing to me. It's distressing to me because I will 100% take accountability and say, I know that I was a part of that. And I was sucked into it. And then I was there willingly and I'm out of it. And it is going to take people who have been blindly and deeply embedded in the Democratic Party to loudly stand up and say, I was committed to something that wasn't committed to me, and now we need to put our energy in a different direction. They just had some conversation on one of these 92% calls with Muriel Bowser, and then here she is sitting and watching the mother of somebody who in her constituency was killed by police officers who were found guilty. She's watching this woman be swarmed by police officers as she tries to address her directly in public since she hasn't been able to address her directly in private. When are we, Black women, when are we going to stop being so hypocritical and choosy about who gets support and who doesn't? Because it looks like only elite Blacks is getting support. And it looks like only when it's in a position that we can play politics in that we can get support. So when I sit there, when I see Joy sitting there with Ta-Nehisi, I hope that in the long form of this interview that she did say, you know, I've always been a Democrat and I've supported the Democrats, but here we are at the very least. But what I would love to hear all of these folks who have been staunch Democrats and who love to be like Democrat this and Democrat that, I would love to hear them finally say, you know, after reviewing the results of the, you know, basically just saying, you know, in hindsight, I see that I was leading more with my values than I was demanding them to reflect my values. And I see that it is imperative that I actively work to shift that in a direction that is better for the people. PSA. Hey, come on now. It's the end of the show. Show your love. Ooh, ooh. Show your love. Let's pass a collection plate. Show your love. Hey, y'all. Show your love. I see the numbers dropping, but I've been on for 3 hours, baby. Support your girl, baby. Shout out to you out there who sat with me as I sat in this chair, trying to teach and trying not to preach, but uplifting you nonetheless. I want you to know that this is gonna go in ways that we don't know, but we gotta pull together. We gotta step it up. So we're gonna show our love, show our love, show our love to each other. Show our love, show our love. Ooh, do, 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 do. Do you, do, do, do. Yeah. Jazz chord. Hope everybody had a really informative day. And remember, I want to remind you that tomorrow is my last day. I will be out for the next week. I'm going to be working on my book and wrapping that up. Looking forward to that. The new release date is November 4th, and we are going to make sure that that happens. To everybody out there, remember, we are each other's business. When we look out for each other, we lift each other up. And I don't say that lightly. I mean that in very literal terms. So I wish everybody a fabulous rest of your day. And I hope you can implement some of the things that we've learned here and we've talked here. And Miss Latia, I would love to hear if they responded to your question. We'll be right back tomorrow with our guest, Nicholas. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? We'll be back tomorrow with our guest, and I'm looking forward to it because he is Nicholas Smith is an illustrator. He's an author, and we'll be talking about his book, Artivism, which is a kid's book, but it's also a concept that all of us really can sink our teeth into. So excited to have him. It's going to be a great time, and keep your heads high, y'all. Keep your heads high, keep your eyes on the prize, and I'm going to go to a craft store because I'm working up an idea for my next drop, and I have to test it out to see if it is going to actually work. 30 seconds of stillness. Damn, I thought I would get it in time, y'all. I thought I would get it in time. Hold on. Oh my gosh, I hate when I do 30 seconds of stillness and I can't get to the stillness fast enough. But I'm getting there. Hold on. We're going to have to do that again.
What's your relationship like with your father?
Soup is good, but bisque is great.
I appreciate that way of thinking.
Are these even people? Go f yourself. Oh my God, Amanda! Topper Shanks. Damn, Topra! Slow clap.
I enjoyed laughing and learning with you. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell your friends. Also, listen to the podcast. It's available everywhere pods are casted. Listen ad-free by subscribing to Patreon Amanda Seals. Come on and join the Seals Squad. Views from AmandaLand. Live 10 a.m. Eastern Monday through Wednesday with content on Thursday and Friday at YouTube Amanda Seals TV.
Smart, funny, and...